Hey guys, welcome back to the George Poulos podcast. So I'm recording this one with a different setup. I'm using the podcast mic that I used to record with. I've noticed there tends to be a little bit of a buzzing in the background with this mic, so I might need to get a new one soon, which is annoying, but that's okay. And this is probably going to be the longest I've ever recorded with this tech setup, and something that keeps happening is my camera will freeze up. So just be prepared if you happen to be watching the video that the camera might freeze up, but that's okay. The audio should go the whole time. So, well, shoot. I'm doing the podcast again. I mean, here we are, third week in a row, Friday morning. This seems to be the routine I'm settling into. I'm holding my guitar because one of the things I want to talk about in this episode is a really cool experience that I've been having with the guitar that has to do with the transmission of wisdom and experience, as well as just kind of an overall kind of mystical experience I'm having with learning the guitar. And I also want to talk about, and this one's not going to be for everybody, but for some of you it's going to be really interesting, because as you know, I have a coaching business. I teach people creative freedom. I help creators show up fully and freely online and step into authentic expression. And I'm even getting into helping people set up their offerings and communities and things like that. So I think a lot about this coaching stuff, and I'm actually seeing a lot of parallels to Buddhism. As you know, I studied a little bit of Buddhism at my meditation teacher training at 3 Joules. I'm actually going to be taking another course with them soon this month that I'll be looking forward to, that I'm sure I'll share some insights from that on the podcast. But there's this idea that coaching, it can, when you really start to think about it, it can seem like it's this pyramid scheme. But Buddhism kind of looks the same way when you look at that too. And when you look at the transmission of wisdom and enlightenment from teacher to student, and the student becomes the teacher, and so on and so on and so on. So I've actually it's still forming, but I've come to a really nice perspective on how coaching kind of mirrors this almost pyramid scheme seeming transmission of wisdom that's very similar to Buddhism, but it's actually, I'm going to explain why I'm starting to see that it's very beautiful. I'm becoming less and less concerned by this. Okay. So 2 sort of topics in this episode. It's interesting because I've been experimenting with lots of different formats with my content. If you've been following me along the different social medias, you might know I've been like fire hosing creative expression. So I've been trying concise expression. I've been trying long form rambling expression where I see what happens. And I got to say, there is quite a satisfaction for me in the podcast format where like I just let whatever download wants to come through. And it's really interesting, guys. This is happening across all my content and my teaching as well, like in the creative freedom community. That's actually something I should really plug for you guys. So I'm opening the floodgates on the creative freedom community. It's completely free. I'm currently hosting 2 events per week. One is a creative freedom call and one is a meditation. This is 100% free offering. It's a beautiful community. I'm getting my laps in and my practice in with teaching and group facilitating. So it's great for me. It's great for you. I'm helping you directly with your creative projects, with your self-expression, with your authenticity, with your inner work. If you resonate in any way with the journey that I've been on through any of the years or now, please come on into the Creative Freedom community. That link is prominently in the description. And if you also want to supercharge your creative freedom and inner work, inner growth journey, you can book a call with me to talk about my mentorship program. So definitely open to new clients there. So just wanted to plug that, and then I'll start talking about the guitar experience, which was really, really very cool. And I think I cut myself off, but I was reflecting about how, oh yeah, I remember. Like this morning, I kind of knew I was going to record the podcast, and just these two topics were just shining in my mind: the guitar experience, and then the coaching Buddhism pyramid scheme exploration. And this just keeps happening with everything. Like right before my creative freedom calls on Wednesdays, this past week, for example, like before the call, I just like got this download of something that I wanted to share. And I shared that at the beginning for like the first 15 minutes, a kind of new realization. And yeah, it's been leaning into trusting those downloads and letting them just come out of me right away has been great. And yeah, really letting go of planning. Like, didn't plan this episode. And even when I have something more concise to say, and I'll do a whiteboard video, those downloads are really coming very spontaneously as well. So it's been cool to lean into that kind of a flow of creative expression there. And I'll let you listen into my strumming a little bit here. It might be a little quiet for you. Here, what I'll actually do. So I learned a bunch of things on the guitar instantaneously, like a snap of a finger recently, because I made a new friend and we spent a while playing the guitar and singing together. And there I see I'm frozen on the video. That's okay. We're just going to run with it and hope the audio is still going, and it will catch up when it catches up. Maybe what I could do is lessen the quality next time I'll do that, because I don't think that it needs to be HD, especially for the podcast. Anyways, I made a new friend. I mean, as you know, I've been playing and practicing the guitar constantly. I made a new friend, and we spent some time playing the guitar and singing together. And first of all, I was just elated to have this experience. It was really viscerally very beautiful and fulfilling to play and sing with someone else. We did some harmonization, singing together, playing together. It was awesome. This person was also significantly better at guitar and singing than me. And so I was, it wasn't set up as a lesson in any way. We were really just playing and doing our thing. But just by watching her play, seeing how her fingers moved on the fretboard, how she strummed, the way that she looked at a guitar tab and just started playing the songs, things just started to click for me very, very, very quickly. And I almost had this psychedelic experience of like how wisdom and experience is transferred. A lot of times it's not about the words or the lesson or the teaching itself. A lot of time it's just embodiment and setting by example. This is actually a really cool insight for the wisdom transmission in Buddhism or coaching example, because what I'm noticing is that yes, there's words that are spoken and sometimes there's a curriculum, but in my experience, it seems like the deeper way that wisdom and experience and a realized state of being or a realized skill, I think the main way that that's transferred is actually through like embodied example. I was actually talking to ChatGPT about this, and they said something really cool. So I'm gonna let myself bounce around topics, but this was my prompt to ChatGPT. I have this vision that coaching mirrors the ever-expanding pyramid-like structure of Buddhist transmission. Can you reflect and expand on this? And not just Buddhist transition, by the way. I get fixated on the Buddhism because I studied that for a bit, but I could also see this applying to like Jesus's teachings, right? It's like the same idea, or any religious or spiritual or any kind of teacher, like. And maybe I'll just show you the picture. I'll let this be an open flow format kind of episode here. But check this out that I drew on my iPad. So at the top there, you've got like the Buddha or Christ or the coach or the teacher or whatever. And the like sparkling light coming out of their being, that's like their realized state. They've realized something. I got to remember to breathe. Let me breathe. Like the Buddha sitting under the Bodhi tree realized something, got enlightened, had a visceral shift in embodiment, and then he taught people, right? So the lines coming out of that top person going out to all these other people. And guys, this could be a lot of people. Like the Buddha, I don't know how many people he taught, but I'm guessing it was like thousands. And same with Jesus. I don't know how many Jesus taught, but I think it was like thousands. And for some of those students, at a certain point, they figured it out. Their light turned on as well. Something snapped in their being. They got it. They figured it out. And then there's this natural transition happens where then the student becomes the teacher. And just because they're in that state of being now, and probably because they realize how amazing it is, they feel how amazing it is, they just naturally become the teacher and then start attracting their own students. So you can see how wisdom or experience, it ripples out in this fascinating pyramid. It's, as you can see though, it's like when you think about the thousands of beings that one person can reach with their wisdom, it's like, it's bigger than just a pyramid. It's like a fantastic rippling outwards that, as you can see, if you go teacher, student becomes teacher teaches even more students, those students become teachers. It's like it can really ripple throughout the globe. So it's quite the fascinating realization. And I guess basically I've been realizing like, coaching kind of mirrors this. Any kind of teaching of embodied wisdom kind of mirrors this. And it's really interesting. And then I added some money signs here in this diagram because, like, you know, as an example, I paid money for meditation teacher training. I charge money for my mentorship. Money is often involved in this. It's interesting to think about Jesus and also in Buddhism, because there are teachings in there that say, you know, don't worry about the money. That's going to be taken care of. Just go teach, like from the bottom of your heart. So that's an interesting thing to reconcile. But in my experience here, what I see is I paid for this thing. I actually had a tremendous experience. So that has broken my story of like money is evil. And I'm starting to see that, okay, yeah, money, it kind of seems like it flows upwards in this pyramid scheme. But if you think about it, if the money flows from student to mentor or mentee to mentor, what's the mentor going to do with that money? The mentor is going to pay his or her or their mentors. They're also going to buy food. They're going to buy housing. So that's why you can see on this top person, the money that comes to this top person, it just flows outwards to all the various things that they're going to use the money on. So it's interesting to just remember that money is this flow and exchange of energy, and it's not necessarily collecting at the top anywhere. It's just flowing around. And that's, I think, what a healthy economy looks like, is when the money is actively flowing around and not being hoarded. Okay, so this is me starting to come to the realization that this is not a pyramid scheme, which has a very negative connotation and probably, has a different definition. I think a pyramid scheme actually is bad because it's not what I'm describing. Basically, what I'm describing is actually something very beautiful, where wisdom is being transmitted freely and money is flowing freely as well. So I'm actually seeing it as a very beautiful thing. And the thing is, if there actually really is a real embodiment and wisdom and experience here, which happens naturally as we grow and mature, we gain wisdom, we gain experience, we figure things out, we gain an embodiment of that wisdom, and then it becomes very easy to transmit it to another person, especially if you believe what I say, that it's less about the words and more about the embodied state. It's really just, if you walk around the world and be the thing that you wish to teach, you'll just inherently automatically start teaching it, and this whole system just starts flowing very beautifully. And it's good that this money is flowing and that this transmission is happening, because it aids in this rippling across the globe, right? And I don't see why not bring money into it, because then there's more abundance flowing to everyone. So that's kind of the vision of why it's not a pyramid scheme and why it's actually very beautiful. If I add my screen share, will I mess something up? I'm not going to do it. I'm too scared. But I want to go back to the ChatGPT prompt. Also, I'm going to take like 2 minutes to catch my breath. Let's do a guitar break. Oh, when I cut myself off earlier, I was going to say, because the guitar strumming, I was like, oh, that might be quiet for you guys. One of the things I learned from my new friend is how to strum with my fingernails, so that could make it a little bit louder for you. Okay, so I know I'm skipping over the guitar piece, but I guess this is more connected than I thought. So back to ChatGPT, my prompt was, I have this vision that coaching mirrors the ever-expanding pyramid-like structure of Buddhist transmission. Can you reflect and expand on this? And here's ChatGPT's response. I love this vision. It resonates deeply with how wisdom and transformation are transmitted across generations and communities. The Buddhist model of transmission, especially in certain lineages, is often seen as a pyramid-like structure where teachings are passed from teacher to student, who then become teachers themselves, continuing the lineage of awakening. If we apply this to coaching, the process mirrors this in a few ways. Direct transmission of insight. Just as Buddhist masters directly transmit teachings and awakenings to their students, a coach provides not just knowledge, but an energetic and experiential transfer of wisdom. Coaching is not just about giving information, it's about shifting perception, deepening embodiment, and facilitating breakthroughs that ripple outward. That is spot on to what I've been feeling. And I love chatting with ChatGPT like this, because it helps me give me the words that I sometimes struggle to find out with. 2, ever-expanding reach. In a Buddhist lineage, each student who becomes enlightened and grounded in the teachings can then guide others. In coaching, each client who integrates the transformation you offer can in turn inspire and elevate those around them. So this is what I'm starting to see in my coaching and community, that people in my creative freedom community and coaching are these, what I'm trying to share, it's being integrated into them so much that they're turning around and they're ready to start their offerings in their communities to impact their people. And I'm beginning to see that this is just a natural process that happens. So the impact from coaching extends far beyond the individual session, reaching into families, communities, and industries. Multiple levels of depth. Some students receive teachings on the surface level, while others go deeply into the path and become lineage holders. Similarly, in coaching, some clients may take what they learn and apply it to their personal lives, while others may feel called to deepen their practice, teach, or coach others. This creates natural layers of mentorship where wisdom is continually refined and passed down. 4, energy and presence as the core transmission. This is exactly what I was saying. And this is exactly what I experienced with the guitar friend. Energy and presence is the core transmission. In Buddhist traditions, it's not just the words of a teaching that matter, but the state of the teacher that transmits the wisdom. The same is true in coaching. Your way of being, your embodiment of what you teach, and the space you hold are just as powerful as any strategy or insight you provide. This is so validating for me to hear, because I think my deepest gift is in the direct transmission, being with somebody one-on-one or in group and talking. That's why I've leaned into, that's like my main offering is that one-on-one or group time and directly teaching and sharing, because it's so painfully difficult for me. This also probably matches my human design, but it's so challenging and difficult for me to like put together a course and write down and outline everything. That's so much more just so painfully difficult for me. But if I just am sitting down with someone and they're asking me questions, it's just flowing and easy to transmit that way. So it's been really, really helpful for me to lean into my natural gifts in that way. And the course is slowly coming together, but I'm doing it in my own way. Like if you see my whiteboard videos here on YouTube, that's when I've had a question come in so many times and I get this intuitive hit, like, let me turn this into a lesson. And over time, I'm thinking I can stitch those together, and that can be my very, very imperfect course, but that hopefully gets as much information across as is needed to help people. Okay, last note from this ChatGPT response: a living lineage versus a fixed model. Buddhist teachings adapt across time, taking different forms depending on the culture and era, while staying rooted in essential truths. Coaching is similar. There are core principles of transformation, but the ways they are expressed and shared evolve. A great coach, like a great teacher, is part of a living lineage that breathes and changes with the times. That is so beautiful. That also speaks to like how modern 3 Joules is, but it's clearly rooted in ancient Buddhist teachings. This model suggests that your work as a coach has a lasting impact far beyond any single session or mentorship container. Each person you work with becomes a carrier of the transformation, and the lineage of wisdom continues to expand. Wow, guys. So ChatGPT said it really well, probably better than I could ever have, about why coaching kind of mirrors the pyramid-like structure of Buddhist wisdom transmission, and why that's actually very beautiful. I think maybe that's my title. And so when I sat down, I thought the guitar thing and this coaching Buddhist exploration were separate things. But as you can see, they're clearly the same, because, to reiterate, so many things from playing the guitar clicked by just spending some time singing and playing with this person. It was not a lesson, but there was a transmission because of the embodiment and the skill that this other person had in them. And I was in that space, so I got that transmission. And guys, all of a sudden, the F chord, it just came to me. Strumming with my fingers like this, it just came to me. Also, all of a sudden, I gained the ability to look at a tab and just start playing the chords and singing without overthinking it. I feel like my singing voice opened up a little more. I just had huge breakthroughs on the guitar journey through this direct transmission with no course material, no lessons, no direct teaching at all, just pure transfer of wisdom through embodiment, sharing space and time. It's really validating for me, the way that I want to lean into my gifts as a coach and a teacher. I want to spend as little of my time as possible on trying to write down the formula and the format and the system. I'll get there in natural time, but I think the way that I'm personally able to teach in the most potent way is through that embodiment and just verbalizing in the moment based on the lived experience of what's happening. So very cool stuff. Really amazing. And then one more thing to share about the guitar. Let me catch my breath again. Let me put you there. One more cool thing about the guitar, guys. Now, this may be because deep in my childhood, I did take some guitar lessons, but I barely remember them. But every time something clicks on this guitar journey, I swear, and I shared this on my IG stories, you might have seen it already, I swear it feels like I'm uncovering something that I already know. So maybe this is from the small amount of guitar lessons I took deep in my childhood that I barely remember. I literally just have glimpses of that memory. But it feels like the psychedelic, the psychedelic mystical feeling is that I played guitar in a past life. And as I'm learning, I'm just uncovering those skills that are already there. It ain't no use to sit and wonder why, babe. If you don't know by now, it ain't no use to sit and wonder why, babe. You'll never do somehow. When your rooster crows at the break of dawn, look out your window and I'll be gone. You're the reason I'm traveling on. Don't think twice, it's alright. It's the most fascinating sensation, guys. It feels like all of the ability is already there, and the more I practice, the more I'm just uncovering, like digging through the dirt and uncovering something that was already buried underneath the surface. So it's been a wild and mystical experience to learn this instrument, and it's been such a beautiful journey. I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to hear the strumming. I wish that I could float up from the ground. I will never know. I messed up the strumming there. Singing that song in particular, I'll have this feeling that God is playing me and the guitar as an instrument. It's this incredible experience of channeling that I also experience sometimes when I'm recording this podcast, when I'm sharing on social media, when I'm teaching with my clients, when I'm teaching in my group calls, etc. It is just also incredibly fascinating. So, I mean, I feel complete here. I feel like I expressed everything. I feel like I hit on that direct realization through the guitar learning about direct transfer of wisdom and experience through embodiment, and how words, courses, writing potentially really isn't all that important, and how that mirrors my exploration of the similarities between coaching and Buddhist or spiritual or religious transmission. And then ChatGPT synthesized that really nicely for us. Wow. So, I really hope I'll see you in my free Creative Freedom community. If you're feeling called to go deeper, I really hope you'll book a consult call so we could talk about and see if there's alignment to go deeper with mentorship and coaching. So yeah, I hope I see you, come on into the portal. Someone said this in a call recently, but business funnel. We're hereby renaming that portal. It's a portal. It's a portal into a deeper experience. So I hope I see you in some of my offerings. That link is in the description. And yeah, I think that's going to be it, guys. I hope you have a beautiful week, because I guess I'm recording these on Friday, posting on Monday. So I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful week. Please share if this sparked any insights, ideas, or questions in the comments, because a lot of the times those questions, comments will fuel more creative expression. So please let it rip. Hop on into the Creative Freedom community and we can talk about all this directly on the group calls. And yes, have a beautiful week, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.